I told my wife before we left, I never do that, but we had a very young team, and we were playing New Haven. I watched them play, and I told her, I said, you know, New Haven could take their line and everything off and just have one guy hand the ball to Lee and he'd beat us. And she said, oh, he can't be that good. I said, well, they got another guy that's just as good, Mac. And if he can't do it, Mac will. There's no doubt about it. As a lot of coaches say, Lee, Mac, and Belt, they would go over his hole. And it was unstoppable.
They took pride, students, the administration, the school board, the public took pride in New Haven athletes, athletics back then. You had total support from every faction of the community. And New Haven was carving a name in this whole metropolitan area. People knew New Haven and feared New Haven. We were determined that nobody should beat us. Nobody. Our goal was, beginning of the year, to go undefeated in all sports.
I remember one year this was preseason game, we ended up going in scrimmage in Algonac and Clawson. We went to Algonac and our team was pretty banged up that year.
They were Class A school. We were Class C. We scrimmaged them. They came out there with about 60 guys for this game. They just knew they were going to tear us apart.
We were in our practice stuff. I mean, torn jerseys, ripped up pants. I didn't even know some of them might have had tennis shoes instead of football spikes. A couple guys were all banged up, and I think I had a torn muscle in my shoulder, and I had to have it taped down because I couldn't raise my arm. And I think there was probably 18 of us. We get off on the New Haven bus. Algonac comes on the field. Here they got all uniforms. Beautiful. There's probably 30 of them. Clawson bus comes in. Here these guys running off, big old guys, like all uniforms, probably 30, seems like 40 of them. Here we are standing over on the sidelines, barely able to, fill the bench.
And Lee, we went back in the huddle, and I stood there before I could say it. He said, give me that lousy football. I says, no, Lee, that's why nobody's going to compare to me. Give me that lousy football. He took that football, and from about the 17-yard line, we started out at the 20. You know how scrimmages go. And he took that dirty route, boom, and all the way with it.
We put such a whipping on these guys. We ran over those guys. We beat those guys down on defense. And after the game, they said, what class are you? We said Class C. He says, it's impossible. He says, you got to be the best Class C team that we've ever seen.
Lamont Harris. He was, what I remember Lamont, he was really quick.
Lamont was real good. Lamont was quick. Lamont just didn't know how good he really was.
Probably one of our best running backs as far as, if you label him a scat back, he could run full blast in 10 yards, stop, turn on a dime, and go the other way full blast.
In a different place and time, he'd been probably a pro athlete.
One of our best defensive players.
He was a gifted man. Jerome was strong and dedicated. He had good ethics.
Tough as nails. Weighed about 155. Played defensive back. Hard hitter. very underestimated ball player. Had more heart than many guys twice his size.
Gordy was an all-around player. He was like a tweener. He could do it all. He was an end, tight end, but he was fast. He could carry the ball. He could catch the ball.
Gordy could do some things that I couldn't do. He dived, he laid flat out for a ball and stuff like that and catch him and all. You know, I couldn't do all that. He was a good athlete.
Just a great all-around player, offensively and defensively. Jimmy was our tough guy on the team, I guess you would say. I always remember he would get into it with somebody on the other team. He was always looking to get into it with somebody.
He liked to cut up a little bit.
He was a scrappy type of player, you know.
He came to play. He didn't fiddle around. Jim came to play.
One of his favorite tricks, I never realized it, was he used to get a little bit of dirt in his hand. First time he hit somebody, he'd hit them, he'd throw the dirt in their face. But he was always twisting people and punching people and grabbing people. But he was a fighter. He was in there scrapping all the time.
Big George could get loose. George was a good athlete.
I remember George at practices. He would be one of those guys that'd be there every day, and he'd take a beating and just keep coming back. You know, he loved to play.
He had a kind heart, and he was dedicated. He gave his best. George, I love George. Richard would always rise up for whatever he needed to do or needed to play. He's that kind of athlete. You could put him just about anywhere, and he'd do a good job.
Good athlete, kind of, it's a little on the wild side a little bit, you know.
He fit perfectly in his role at wingback with that group our junior year, and then our senior year he moved to left half and carried the load.
For most teams around us, he could have started easily. Playing behind Dwight Lee is no pancake.
Well, Jack was the premier lineman. I felt Jack could have played any place in the country.
He was the leader of the line. He was captain of the team. I guess you could say he was the heart and soul of the team.
He'd knock you on your rump and you'd get up and say why.
He was a true leader at that time, and we all looked up to him.
One of the greatest linemen ever come out of school was Jack Bell. I can remember a game, and I don't know who it was against. We were winning it. Jack dislocated his hip and would not come out of that game. That's the kind of attitude those guys had. Unyielding, never quit, never give up, an undying commitment to win.
I put Jack up against anybody. I mean that I played within the pro ranks, and Jack would win.
And a comedian.
Well, Larry was, he's a spitting image of Jack. With Larry and Jack on the line there, we didn't worry about nothing.
Larry played the other tackle on the other side. Again, both of them had the same chemistry and makeup. They were both tough, and they were willing to mix it up with anybody. And Larry would hit anybody. He didn't care.
He played the other tackle, and I don't think that any teams in the league had any better tackles than we had.
He and Cliffy were awful close.
He was my best friend, and even though we were kind of battling for the quarterback job back then, we kind of pulled for each other, and whoever got it was fine.
Rick was not a very big guy, but he was a hard-hitting guy.
Rick was, he was one of the kids that you needed to build to have on a team. We just had a lot of good people. He was a good person, he was a good athlete.
He was good, and I think he knew he was good.
Dwight Lee was an athlete that only comes around once in a while. The great thing about Dwight, he led by example. Being a great athlete is one thing. but making the people around you great is another thing. And he has since the people around him fed off the determination that he brought to the table. He was special man.
He was the first athlete from New Haven that was recruited by a Big Ten school.
He was the best player on the team, you know. Division I football player. He scared everybody, even his teammates a lot of times. But I tell you what, he backed you up. You know, we had a team that you needed any backing, Dwight was there. I mean, I remember Dwight running the ball, and I remember a kid trying to get out of his way, I think. He wasn't trying to. Dwight must have had about 80 yards, and he was on the 5-yard line. This kid was just standing there, and Dwight could have just ran right around him. And Dwight just put his head down and ran that kid right into the ground. The kid kind of ended up behind the goalpost somewhere.
John was a tough one because he was muscular, he was quick, but he was powerful. He'd run at you straight on.
In those days, John was quiet, and didn't say too much. And I never seen anyone that was like built and didn't lift any weights. John was like a rock.
If somebody said you needed 5 yards, John would get 6.
A lot of fun to be around. He always had a pretty positive attitude.
I could have took John any place in the world with me. John had been right there playing. Michigan State, any college in the world. John could have played any place, and it would have been a good pro. John was just a great athlete and gifted. You know, can't say enough about him. I love him.
He was a tough lineman. He lived on 26 Mile Road. Coach recruited him. He was a fairly big kid. I think he was about 6'2", about 200 pounds or over. Played a little defense, I believe, and mixed it up.
Well, August was just a brute strength, the guy. August was strong, daring, but he would follow instructions. And he was reckless. You know, you get him focused on what he had to do, and August would do it.
Dave was another good player that, you know, didn't get a lot of playing time, but anybody on that team had to be tough. You weren't on that team. If you were on that team, you were tough.
You've seen kids that you didn't know what's going to happen Friday night. You wonder. You know, you wonder. And then they get out there Friday night and make you just amaze me. And that's the kind of kid he was. You haven't got a kid on your team better than Charlie Matthews.
Played with a lot of enthusiasm.
He was the executioner, we may say, of the offensive line.
Charlie was a great lineman. Charlie could have won any place and played in any school in the Big Ten, that I believe, because he was that good and dedicated.
One of the great linemen of all time.
John would push himself above his abilities.
John Omey's another kid that played defense mostly, if I remember, lineman, and again, developed some toughness.
John Omey had a lot of heart. Wasn't the best athlete. Came with a lot of heart.
John wasn't afraid to step out there and give his best, and he did.
We were always good buddies. We always did a lot together in practice, and he lived right behind me, so we were out, you know, we grew up together. And I remember one time we were arm mate, I think, and I think he got hit in the mouth or something, started bleeding, and just stayed in the game and never even went out.
He had guts, and he wouldn't give up. He's just one of those radical type of athletes that get out there and you know you're in a fight when you go out there and go up against him.
Pound for pound, he was one of the toughest players that year.
Butch was one of my closest friends, so, you know,
there was that connection there between us. So, and we just kept working on getting faster and faster out of it, and we were pretty efficient actually.
Irv Cooper was a guy that played the offensive line. He always had a lot of laughter about him, but he was good to have as a teammate. He played tough, he played committed, he played together with us, and we all enjoyed the laughter and joy of having Irv Cooper as a teammate. Dick Crawford was probably the tallest guy on the team. All you had to do is throw the ball high up in the air, and Dick Crawford would go there and get the ball.
Dick was our tight end on the left side, 6'7", and a lot of times we'd fake and just throw it up to him and catch the ball. And he was very athletic for being 6'7".
He played above his injuries. You know, he hurt his leg and stuff like his knee, and so it always gave him some problems. But Cliffy would be out there ready to play.
He was had pretty good head on him as far as, you know, what he wanted to do on the football field and whatnot, you know.
Cliff was a good athlete. That was one of the reasons. He was a good athlete, and we know he had good personnel around him to motivate him, to push him. We had no doubt that Cliff was going to do a good job. His commitment to sports carried on, and he's still teaching young people today.
Ward's the best coach New Haven's ever had. He's someone that I always looked up to and tried to actually design my life after. You know, I watched him for years and said, you know, I want to be like him. I want to be a football coach, and I want to coach and teach and do those things. So yeah, basically I designed a lot of what I do and what I'm about after him.
Coach Ward Young had a very unique way of making you believe you could go through a.
He motivated me and pushed me to make me be the best that I could be, and he, you know, he gave me more than just football stuff. He taught me how to live and how to be a good person. That's what I learned out of him. That life does have its ups and downs, but that we can rise above them. And you know, I can't say enough about Ward.
He coached with his heart, with his mind, and with his soul. He coached with pride, and he coached with character. Not only from New Haven, from Mount Clemens, from Port Huron, all the surrounding areas. New Haven had built a power in sports. And people came and supported and followed us. Just a great time.
There was a few times that, you know, Jack and Jack Bell and Charlie Matthews and the boys, John Omick and all of them, you know, they went to Richmond or New Baltimore, and the boys down there jumped on them because they're from New Haven. So we would get in the car, go down there and jump on the boys' back. You know, we let them know you can't mess with anybody from New Haven. We didn't care what color you were. If you was from New Haven, we stuck together as a town.
It was such a special bond between all those guys. We did things together, we hang out together, we played ball together.
It was a wonderful period of my life. I was fortunate and blessed to be raised in a community like New Haven, because New Haven was the ideal spot for the bringing up children and to raise a family.
When you're winning and you have fun at it, and which we did, it's just a good feeling when you can look back and say, boy, these guys, we did gel together pretty good.
The last game against Anchorman, they were 6-1, something like that. They had been whooping that they would whoop us this year. And we were so determined. And we beat them 45-0. And going out the last time off that field and listening to that crowd, the stands were packed. The announcer gave Dwight Nile, this is my last game, and they gave us a standing ovation. And just thinking about this is my last game, it was an overwhelming experience. I'll never forget.